Hey, what's going on, guys? Today, I want to ask the $1 million or even the $1 billion question. Did LeBron just cancel Kanye? Did LeBron James just cancel Kanye West? I've got some really disturbing stuff I want to talk to you guys about, and we're going to get started on some of this. I'm going to break this down for you, and I feel like I need to break it down because we need to hear black men in this conversation. So get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hi to everybody. Shout out the city that you're from as you come in. Feel free to go ahead and do that. Please let me know. I see King Castle, Mike Jones. Mike Jones? Malcolm Russell. Jaquez says, boy, stop defending that clown. You're about to lose a subscriber. Well, if I'm about to lose a subscriber by defending freedom of speech, then don't let the doorknob split you where the good Lord hit you or whatever I'm about to say. I said it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. That means get the fuck out. Anyway, here's the point. My point is, look, I'm not going to change nothing for nobody. This platform has been the same for many years, and I stand by every black man's right to have his perspective. I stand by every black woman's right to have a point of view. Now, let me just say this. This is a trigger warning, everybody. If you don't believe in freedom of speech, then get out of here. If you don't believe that black people have the right to be free thinkers just like white folks, then march your raggedy ass on down the street. You can go tickle Joe Biden's balls if you want to. You can go, rub Donald Trump's toenails or whatever you do. If you rub Donald Trump's butt, then that's fine too. But this is not a space for people who are trying to be clowns and stooges for any political party. If you are overly committed, I have to lay this warning out because this is important. We're going to talk about LeBron and Kanye in a minute because this is an important discussion. If you are an employee of any of these parties, if you are a stooge for these parties, if you are a person that is so deeply committed to the politics that you can't get to facts, reality, fairness, and diversity of perspective, then I don't know what to do with you. It doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean I dislike you. I got friends that feel certain ways. I got friends that think Kanye West is crazy. You know, my buddy Willie D. Willie's my homeboy. Willie was in my wedding. That's how cool we are, right? Willie and I maybe don't see eye to eye. He doesn't like Kanye, and I respect that. You know, Willie's my man. Then I got other friends that, are in that Republican Party who feel a certain way about Kanye. And I think it's everybody's right to do that. So let me just lay the premise of the discussion out right now. I think that, and tell me if you agree. Give me a yes if you can at least hear what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you can understand where I'm coming from. I believe that people have a right to express their point of view without persecution. Or, now if you disagree, that's one thing. But when you somehow believe that a person doesn't have the right to have a point of view that's different from everybody else, I don't understand where that's coming from. That does not make sense to me. So let me just start the conversation with that, okay? Because I don't want you to think that I think that everything Kanye West has done is okay. I don't. I do think Kanye needs a therapist and some meds. I wonder about that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm married to a therapist. She sees signs that he might be a little bit. He's struggling psychologically, potentially. His self-care has kind of declined a little bit. Kanye, if you're watching, call me again because we can help you. I got a therapist in the house and she's seeing things that are disturbing to her, but you got to listen to somebody. Kanye ain't listening to nobody but himself and listening to God, and that's a problem, right? His ego is a problem. Sometimes he'll ramble in a way that doesn't make sense. That's a problem. But at the same time, here's the thing. Kanye ain't totally stupid. Kanye, he's a little crazy, but he ain't totally crazy. It ain't like, I mean, Kanye, when Kanye speaks that powernomics language, all y'all need to be talking that language. Every one of y'all need to listen when he's talking about powernomics. Y'all need to listen when he's talking about the black father being booted out of the household. You need to listen when he talks about things like maybe Margaret Sanger or even what goes on in Hollywood. Y'all know who runs Hollywood. Y'all know who runs Hollywood. Y'all know who owns the media. Y'all know who owns the banks. And the idea that somehow you get called anti, I'm not going to say it. Don't use the J word in the chat. Please don't do that because they'll come after me next. So don't use the J word. Like, give me a yes if you hear what I'm saying. Please don't use that word in the chat. Okay, let's use the, maybe take out the J, call it EW. So if you ever want to talk about, just say EW. Don't put J. Don't do that. Okay, see, you did that. Fuego, why would you do that? See, don't do that, man. But seriously, the reality is that we know who's running all of this shit. And it is not anti-nothing to call it for what it is. It's not anti-nothing to say that there's a lot of corruption there. It's not anti-nothing to say, hey, how come you persecute anybody who disagrees with you and acts like they're trying to oppress you? Ain't nobody trying to oppress you. This ain't World War II. But there are people who have power, and this is what power looks like. Power does what power wants. It's like when your mother, anybody ever debate with their mama? We're going to get to Kanye and LeBron in a minute because I think there's something really disturbing that happened with those two, and I really want to address that. Now, forgive me for taking time. Somebody can put in the chat and in the comments, like he gets to LeBron at 8 minutes and 22 seconds. I got to make this point. Has anybody ever argued with your mother when you were a kid, and you ever have an argument with your mama and you fuck around and you start winning the argument? Has anybody ever done that? Anybody argue with their mama and their mama will get mad because you're actually winning? You're like, you explained to her why you should be allowed to go skating because you technically did clean your room on time and you should have really got your allowance so you could really go hang with your friends, or because your brother did the same thing when he was your age. And then your mama starts backpedaling and gets mad because she can't out debate you anymore because now you're 14 and you're able to process things in a really spectacular way. What does your mother do? What did your mama do when she knew she was losing the argument? Well, anybody tell me, what did your mama do? It could have been your daddy. What did your parents do when they realized that they couldn't win the argument with facts and information? What would they say? They would pull out the trump card. Because I said so. That's what they would do. They would say, because I said so. They would use power as their trump card. They would use brute force to come back and basically say, well, stop. I ain't going to have this debate with you no more. Go to your room, clean it up now because I said so. That was them basically saying, okay, I pulled you into this illusion that this was a fair fight, right? I let you live in the fantasy world that you actually have some say, I made you falsely believe that this was a democracy. And now now it's about to get real because you're turning a system I created against me. You made me the loser in a game that I created. No, I'm not a player in the game. I'm the god of this game. I'm the creator of all of this. So you're not going to beat me in my own arena. So how about this? Instead of us debating the issue further, get your raggedy ass upstairs, clean your room because I said so. That defines white supremacy in a nutshell. That defines power in a nutshell. That defines what you're looking at in a nutshell, because white folks been doing it to you your whole life. You get lied to and led to believe that, we live in a democracy and everyone has fair rights and we've got equality. We've got civil rights. We can sue you. We can cancel you. We can complain about, we're going to vote in our power. They get you believing this illusion that you have as much say as they do. They get you to believe like, hey, all y'all got to do is show up and vote and it's going to be okay. And you're going to get your rights and your communities will be better and your wealth is going to come back and everything's going to be fine. And then when you start pulling facts on their ass, when you start doing what Dr. King did before he died, and you start saying, hey, we came to pick up our check. Here's documented evidence in the court of law to say that you owe us $14.6 trillion because you stole X amount of wealth from us over all these years. Then suddenly all your little allies are not your allies anymore. The people you thought were your friends, suddenly that smile turns into a frown. Suddenly they get concerned. They start questioning your mental health. They start telling you that you're going too far. You're too extreme. And then they just pull out the trump card like your mama did. They say, well, we're not going to pay you reparations, not because you don't deserve it, but because we said so. Because we said so. No white person on this planet in their right mind is ever going to try to have a fair and square debate with you over whether or not you're owed reparations. Why is that? Well, because they know the truth. Everybody knows the truth now. And now that you've revealed the truth, you laid out all the facts, you laid out all the data, you've written all the books, you've done all the analysis to prove the obvious. What are they doing? Absolutely not a goddamn thing. You know why? Because they don't have to. They don't have to do anything for you because they said so. Well, those people that Kanye is referencing who control and own an outsized proportion of this country, y'all know who it is. Please, these nameless, powerless people who don't have any sway, who keep canceling people, who had Nick Cannon on his knees apologizing like a little punk for several days in a row. I mean, they literally emasculated the shit out of Nick Cannon. This is when I saw Nick Cannon go down, I literally sat there like a slave on the plantation and saying, wow, that's why I never wanted to work in the big house, because I would not want to live that way. I would not want to feel whatever you're feeling right now. That's going to make you so emasculated that you got to go out and have 847 kids with 3,222 women just to regain your manhood. But I'm sorry, brother, they chop your balls off and they're not growing back. They're just not. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but it's true. You know what I'm talking about. The apology tour. They put a black man on the apology tour, and you know who's behind it. Kanye is just a guy who just says it in a brutally honest way and in a way that's going to make some people uncomfortable, and it just is what it is. So here's what I want to get to, and I'm going to jump in. Now, let's talk about LeBron for a second, okay? Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to remind everybody my website's boycewatkins.com. We're having our All-Black National Convention the 28th through the 30th in Charlotte. If you'd like to join, I put some links on my website. Also, I am going to join Tariq Nasheed in D.C. for the reparations rally in early November. I'm changing my schedule to get out there, and I want to publicly state my support for what Tariq is doing because I think that this is what the community needs. All right. So with that being said, here's what's interesting with this thing with LeBron and Kanye. So I'm reading this article in a place called, I've never heard this outlet. It's called Anscape. And what Anscape is saying is that in an exclusive statement to Anscape, Maverick Carter, you know, that's LeBron's buddy, who I guess LeBron put him in a position to make a lot of money. So he has a lot to say in the I guess sports arena and maybe entertainment too. Let's see. Maverick Carter said a recently taped episode of The Shop featuring Kanye West will not air. Yesterday, we taped the episode of The Shop with Kanye West. Kanye was booked weeks ago, and after talking to Kanye directly the day before we taped, I believed he was capable of a respectful discussion and he was ready to address all his recent comments. Unfortunately, he used The Shop to reiterate more hate speech and extremely dangerous stereotypes. We have made the decision not to air the episode or any of Kanye's remarks. While The Shop embraces thoughtful discourse and differing opinions, we have zero tolerance for hate speech of any kind and will never allow our channels to be used to promote hate. I take full responsibility for believing Kanye wanted a different conversation and apologize to our guests and crew. Hate speech should never have an audience, says Maverick Carter, who is on the apology tour with Nick Cannon, who also had his testicles removed and taken back behind the woodshed and spanked like a little boy. I thought you had power, man. I get it. I understand. You've got relationships and somebody picked up the phone and called you. You can't tell me, you can't convince me in a million years. I'm sorry. Call Kanye, say what you want about Kanye's opinions. I'm not saying Kanye's got it all together. I'm not saying that at all. You can dislike him if you want. But how many of y'all, let's go here. Let me ask y'all a question. Let's say Kanye was like your uncle. You know, everybody got a crazy uncle. Anybody got like a crazy ass uncle who just says the most ridiculous shit ever at the family picnic? Like literally will just say stuff where you're like, okay, that was incredibly inappropriate. That was ignorant as hell. What's wrong with you? He needs his meds. He needs to stop smoking. He needs to stop drinking so much. Anybody got that crazy uncle that gets drunk at the family reunion? Give me a yes in the chat if you had that experience. Okay. So if that uncle says stuff that's crazy and inappropriate, do you ever feel the need to like remove him completely just because he's telling stories that take too long and he's talking loud and getting on everybody's nerves? Or do you issue a public statement and an apology to white people because your uncle just thinks white people are terrible? Like, or do you like feel the need to go out of your way to remove yourself from him because everything he said is just so inappropriate and so uncomfortably disrespectful that you just can't tolerate having Uncle Louie at the party anymore? No, you don't. You usually don't. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some of y'all got uncles that really need to be booted out the family for doing things that we won't even talk about because it's so bad. But if you just got an uncle who's a little bit loud, like I had an uncle who would come, he was an Atlanta Falcons fan. He had a bunch of gold teeth and a ring on every finger, kind of like a broke Deion Sanders. And he would come and talk a lot of shit at the party. He'd have a bottle of beer in his hand and just be yelling, yeah, right? And I'd get mad. I'd be trying to debate with him. Then I realized you can't debate with a crazy drunk asshole, right? So it was just something we got used to. We knew he was crazy and it was fine, but he was family. We love him. We love him. I think Kanye is a little bit like the crazy drunk uncle at the party. I really believe that most Black people would not be in a space where we say, because your opinion is not consistent with ours, you no longer have any right to speak. I really don't believe that. I don't believe, think about this. A lot of y'all got uncles who might say stuff like the Black Power movement was bullshit. Or them they're over there talking about this civil rights. That's crazy. You know, well, I knew Dr. King and Dr. King wasn't shit. You know what I mean? Whatever, right? You know these people. But you never disown them. You never be like, oh, well, that's inappropriate and hate speech will never be tolerated at our dinner table. You don't do that stuff. You just say, well, that's crazy, Uncle Willie. I don't agree with him, but I love him, and that's it. And here's the problem. This is what I want you to understand. When you get into a world where we as Black people become overly committed to these white-owned political parties, you're creating gang warfare in your community. You are adding to a fuel on the fire that creates tremendous amounts of divide and conquer. It happens every election, and it is 100% deliberate and intentionally designed by those who control the system to make sure that you're ready to disown your uncle, your cousin, somebody who's been with you since you were a baby. You're ready to disown that person because they won't support Joe Biden like you do, or because they're a Democrat and you're a Republican. That's ignorant. I'm sorry. I just really need you to really reconsider that. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that you should agree or disagree with a Kanye West. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying Maverick Carter, if you're watching this, LeBron, if you're watching this, this is ridiculous, man. Let that Black man have his say. Let him speak. Edit the conversation. If you don't like certain things, then edit it. Take it to the editing room. Okay, we can't have him say that. Now he's talking about Kanye, he's talking about aliens again. But now, Kanye done said something crazy. Okay, Kanye is a little bit off. We know this, but the man ain't 100% off. He's not. If he was 100% off, he wouldn't have $4 billion in the bank that you don't have. If he was completely crazy and ridiculous, Kanye would not be one of the most, if not the most iconic entertainers in the history of this country. He is a walking manifestation of the Beatles. Do you know why Adidas can't afford to cancel their contract with Kanye? Do you know why? Do you know why Adidas put his contract under review and didn't actually cancel it? You think they don't want to get rid of that Negro? They can't do it because the man makes $2 billion a year for the company. He makes 5 times more money than Beyonce. Beyonce signed with Adidas. Kanye signed with Adidas. Beyonce's money is here. Kanye's up here. They're like, damn, we hate this guy. He's getting on our nerves. He's crazy, but we can't get rid of him because there's something in his crazy that's actually brilliant, and we don't know what it is. It's hard to admit, but it's true. It's hard to admit, but it's true. To prove me wrong, show me where I'm incorrect about any of this. You know, and everything he does isn't terrible. He shouts out Dr. Claude Anderson. Shit, all y'all should be doing that. These Negroes on TV ain't got no damn solutions for nothing except, no voting, no bucking, no voting, no bucking. Y'all saw that video. That's all they got is no voting, no bucking. That's all they got for you. And at least Kanye's like, maybe we should all read Powernomics. When Kanye called me about Powernomics, he admitted, one thing he admitted to me is that he doesn't like to necessarily read entire books. It takes a long time. I appreciated that honesty, but he was definitely interested in the basic ideas of Powernomics because it's time for Black people to have some damn power. I'm not telling you to love everything Kanye is saying. I'm not saying to do this, but I'm going to tell you this. The reason LeBron and Maverick can't air Kanye's episode is because there's some magical white man in the back who got a call from the synagogue or someplace and basically said, you can't let this stuff on TV. We got to get these black men under control. You're a goddamn man, and a man should at some point be able to shape his own destiny. So the fact that you disarmed or undermined this brother's right to just share his opinion, no matter how wacky some of it may be, is absolute bullshit. You're a punk for that. That's a punk move. I get it. It's probably it would have cost you $20 million or something, or maybe there's some big $100 million deal in the works. I get it. Maybe you're playing chess instead of checkers. I'm not in any way saying that these guys are stupid. I'm just saying I don't like it. And I also need us to understand, again, I'm a financial expert. You guys know my background. This is what I do. My PhD's in this stuff. And I can just tell you that all money ain't good money. And there's some things out here in this world that are more important than money. I'm not saying that Kanye West is one of them. You can make that decision yourself. What I am saying to you is that I didn't like the fact that LeBron and Maverick took that pressure from somebody and decided to remove Kanye from the show. I think I would have liked to have heard what he had to say, even if it was a little bit weird. I also believe to the core of my soul that this was not their decision. I believe that somebody put pressure on them, and it ended up getting to the point where they knew they couldn't move forward. They said, if we do this, we're going to end up we're going to end up getting in trouble, and we don't want to get no trouble because we got this other deal, but in the works in Hollywood, of all places. And y'all know who runs Hollywood. Ain't no damn secret about that. This idea that it's anti to talk about who really controls all this game, that right there is part of the game itself. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My website's boycewatkins.com. Feel free to go visit my website. Also, we have a channel for Black men where we encourage Black men to speak. It's called the Black Boss Channel. So if you'd like to support the right of brothers to have freedom of speech, I invite brothers to speak on there, even the ones who disagree with us, as long as you're respectful. That's the thing I kind of ask, is to find some way to at least have a respectful dialogue and be willing to influence each other and be willing to receive influence. That's what's important. You have so many people that think they know all the answers and refuse to accept any form of influence outside of their sphere of reality. I think that's wrong. I think that if you're a smart person, you should be willing to sit down with somebody who disagrees with you completely and try to get their point of view and at least validate and understand something about what they said. Again, that depends on what your game is. Is your goal, give me a yes or no in this chat, is your goal to have some sort of unity with other Black people? Or is your goal to maintain division? Give me a yes or no, because we have to talk about this, because we've been traumatized. We like to fight each other. We fight each other harder than we fight anybody else. So is your goal unity or division? Type it in the chat. Everybody answer this. What do you want? Do you want to be unified with other Black people and understand them? Or is your goal to just simply write them off, dismiss them, or participate in the white supremacist activity of simply muting Black people who say things that are different from the pre-existing narrative? What is your goal? What is your damn objective? I need you to be intentional about this. Be very conscious of how you go about engaging each other. Because I'm going to tell you something I've learned from people. This is why I love people like Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. They are super and extraordinarily talented at hearing your point of view, even if you're crazy. Even if you are reckless with your words and ridiculous in things you say, they know how to listen and understand what you're saying before they come back and correct you and tell you that you're stupid. They're not going to do that. In fact, they won't even do that. They'll say, well, my brother, here's another way for you that you may want to look at this issue. That is how you communicate in a way that doesn't turn it into a Jerry Springer show. That's how you connect with people who disagree with you without getting ghetto with each other and embarrassing yourself. You know, I'm not telling you, again, I have to keep saying this over and over again, because there are people who think that this is the pro Kanye West show. No, I'm not 100% pro Kanye West. I've told you the things that I disagree with Kanye. I wouldn't have married a damn Kardashian. I wouldn't be aligned with the Republicans and Donald Trump and all that. I think that he needs a therapist and maybe some meds. I'm not sure. But at the same time, the way the media is responding to him is very telling. They are showing their racism in the way they're responding to him because they're not even behaving as if he's a black man that deserves to have a voice. Donald Trump is allowed to speak. He's a crazy old white man. Joe Biden is damn near senile. He's been allowed to speak. So why can't Kanye have a perspective too? Why can't his voice be out there too? I think you need to hear from everybody. If you are out here voting for nothing, if you're out here voting just because somebody told you it's your duty to show up and vote for the Democrats, then I'm sorry, that's not the right strategy for you. If you don't believe me, then look around in your community and you tell me how much progress and how much benefit your community has received from you consistently showing up and doing whatever they tell you to do. But also at the same time, y'all know as well as I do that there ain't no real answers in the Republican Party. The only real answers might be related to things like abortion or the way they sort of respond to family values. I can see that or whatever. But at the same time, the Democrats also, they do good things for poor people. They do good things in terms of allowing some form of diversity in our society. So there's benefits to every party, but unconditional allegiance to any political party at the end of the day makes you a loser. And I'm going to tell you this. If you ask me who I voted for, the answer is none of your damn business. That's the first one. Second one is I'm independent. I vote black. Every election, I vote black. And also, I'm also going to say this. My particular position is if you don't support reparations, I will not support you. That's it. If you don't, that's my issue. That's the issue I hang my hat on. But the thing about it, though, is that my issue doesn't have to be your issue. My choice doesn't have to be your choice. That's what freedom looks like. And the thing is that we can't really claim as a community to support the idea of freedom if we're constantly pushing each other back into slavery. We push each other into slavery. Look at how much, think about this. Imagine somebody made this comment on Instagram. I thought it was great. I don't know who said it though, but it was great. They said, imagine if we chastised murderers and dope dealers the way we will chastise and alienate somebody who simply votes for another political party outside the Democrats. Think about this. They got y'all trained to go ape shit, go DEFCON 3, to use Kanye's words. You go DEFCON 3 on a black person who don't support Joe Biden, but ain't got nothing to say, ain't got no smoke for the damn gangbanger who came through the hood and shot a little girl while she was on her tricycle. Or the dope dealer who got your auntie hooked on crack and ruined your whole community. You ain't got no smoke for them. You ain't got no smoke for all the rappers that are literally training your boys to get hooked on drugs, to murder each other, throw away their money, and disrespect your women. You got nothing for them, but you got all the smoke in the world for somebody who didn't vote for Joe Biden. Fuck you and fuck Joe Biden. I don't give a shit about any of that. It doesn't matter. You can vote for whoever you want. I really don't care. The reason I don't care is because I know it doesn't make a difference. I am a scientist. I look at the data. I look at the analysis. I've read all the books. I've gone through the details. You ain't getting nothing for your damn vote. So who you vote for, literally, when you come in here, I don't care who you voted for because I like to look for solutions that actually work. As a mathematician, I taught math at the University of Kentucky. One of the rules of mathematics is that if you solve the problem, the solution must actually work. You can't just pretend like you solved the problem. You can't pray to white Jesus that you're going to get a solution to the problem. You can't sit back and just ignore the problem. You actually have to confront the problem, look at it, and come up with a solution. So when I come in and I speak, and sometimes I cuss, and I apologize for cussing, but it's just who I am. I'm not going to apologize for that. I apologize, but it's an apology, but not an apology. Like that rapper out of Atlanta, she's really good. Amaretta the Great. She says, sorry, not sorry. So I'm sorry, not sorry, to use the words of Amaretta the Great. She's a good rapper. You should look her up. She's kind of ratchet, whatever, but she's good. She's good. Anyway, so so sorry, not sorry. So here's the deal. What I would say to you or ask you is that whenever you get fired up about something and you get involved in something and emotionally invested in something that relates to Black people or politics, ask yourself, is this really creating a solution that's going to make my community better? And where's the evidence for that? That's really it. So what am I doing? Well, I'm going to go to DC to support my brother, Tariq Nasheed. Tariq and I don't agree on everything, but I agree with Tariq big time on this and a lot of other issues. And I'm going to go there and support the reparations rally. Why am I doing that? I don't like politics. I don't get involved in politics. I don't talk to politicians all day long. When they try to call me, they call me all the time. The reason I'm doing it is because I believe that this will actually work. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe that reparations will actually make a difference. The reason I'm doing this is because I believe that this is a solution that will actually apply and get us the result that we want, that will move the ball down the field, that will make progress. The rest of the stuff is a bunch of screaming and hollering and complaining that ain't really going nowhere. The Black Lives Matter rallies and all that, I didn't participate in any of that because I don't believe in marching. I don't believe in praying. I don't believe in all the stuff that Al Sharpton is telling us to do. I believe that Al Sharpton, unfortunately, people and many people like him are part of what they call controlled opposition. They're there to pretend like they're fighting on your behalf when really they're just there to create the friction that's going to get you riled up to make you feel like you got to show up and vote. And they lean on your emotionality in order to do that. I'm not here to be emotionally manipulated. I'm not good for pimping. Political pimps have to go find another victim because I'm not your guy. So what I would encourage you to do is think about what matters to you. When it comes to Kanye, I think that I wish LeBron and Maverick had made a different decision. I respect those guys. I think LeBron's super smart. I think he's a good guy. But what I would say to him as a guy who's a little bit older than LeBron is, brother, stop getting caught up in these fucking political parties. Stop letting these Democrats control you. Figure out what freedom looks like to you by listening to multiple voices from all different directions so you can decide independently who you want to be and where your ideas lie. Find the best ideas, but you're not going to find them by sitting under the Democratic Party, tickling Joe Biden's balls or doing favors for these people in every election. They are using you. They're manipulating you. Go back and read Malcolm X because he told you this 60 years ago, period. All right. So somebody just said something negative about my wife. So let me remove this asshole from the chat. You can't be there talking about my wife. What's wrong with you, Negro? Anyway. All right, guys. So that's it. I got to go. So you guys have a great day. And thank you for listening. And again, sorry, not sorry for any profanity. If the profanity offended you, I wish I could say I'll stop, but I'll probably be lying. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, don't forget the All Black National Convention happens at the end of this month. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. The All Black National Convention is a gathering of Black people, B1 people from all around the world, where we get together with dozens of experts in every area. We have billionaire Mike Roberts coming. The chairman of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller, is going to join us. Riza Islam will be there. All kinds of great people. And so if you'd like to join us, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. It's a great place to learn, connect, and have fun. The convention's always great. So feel free to join us in Charlotte. And if you want to just join us digitally, we do have digital passes available. I put them on my website at boycewatkins.com. So feel free to join us there too. All right, everybody. Have a good night. God bless you. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Also, please subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Love you. Talk to you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.